11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What a fight! I think Bivol won it.
Juan, the Hispanic causing panic, Lascano.
And thanks for those joining me live. And those of you joining me on the archive, the style here, we're listening on the archive. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you like the content and share this on all your social media platforms. It is all appreciated, right? So Lisa Bales, for example, thank you for sharing the content on Twitter and everyone who does. Okay. And anyway, I had a busy weekend. I ended up with car troubles on Friday. Like I forgot to deal with that, and then I ended up having to. I went to go help my brother with some work, and so I got busy, and I wasn't able to watch, especially on Saturday. I wasn't able to watch a lot of the fights, and the only fight I had like a little bit of a break, and I was able to watch the Bivol versus Beterbiev fight, and what a fight that was. Like I really enjoyed that fight, and you know, the one good thing about this fight, the two of them, and whether it was before the fight, during the fight, even after the fight, was you know, it reminded everybody that this is a sport. You know, we all get caught up with the business angle of things, right? With the who's the A side, who's the B side, who's the draw, who's not the draw, where's the fight going to be? Should it be in Vegas? Is it how much money will the gate bring? How many pay-per-views is it going to do? And does it make sense to do it? And who's the manager and who's the promoter? And are the promoters beefing? Or are the managers beefing? Are the fighters beefing on Twitter? They're actually fighting in the ring. And we get caught up with the drama and the TMZ level of I guess charades. We get caught up with it. Even I'm guilty of it. But there was just a certain pureness about these two guys fighting, right? There was a certain pureness of like this is for the boxing fan. This is what this was, right? There was a certain level of, I don't care. My next door neighbor doesn't know that these two guys are fighting. This fight's for me, right? As a boxing fan. And when I talk to other boxing fans about the fight, we're talking about the strategy. We're talking about the implications of legacy, right? In terms of what winning the fight would be. We're talking about the outcome. We're talking about the rounds. We're talking about the activity. We're talking about strategy. We're talking about the X's and O's of boxing when it comes to this fight or these fights with these two gentlemen, right? These two terrific fighters who didn't do any of the shenanigans. They weren't shoving and screaming and saying racist things to get attention, right? They weren't trying to sell tickets, or they weren't doing it for the social media. They were just simply being themselves, their authentic selves, in and out of the ring. And my God, was it just refreshing to see. And was it a privilege to watch both fights for me? and this was even a better fight. And watching these two great fighters put it all on the line, right, is to me the epitome of why I am a boxing fan in the first place. I didn't become a boxing fan because of pay-per-view buys. I didn't become a boxing fan because I want to know how the business of boxing works. I didn't become a boxing fan because I care how many households are watching a fight. That's not why I'm saying that's not why I became a boxing fan, right? I didn't fall in love with this sport because I really want to know who the managers of these fighters are and how they negotiate, right? I didn't become a fan of this sport so I could quote unquote understand why I'm not getting the fights I want, because you need to understand the business. I didn't become a fan of this sport of boxing so somebody could tell me it's not a sport, it's a business. Now, I'm not delusional. I understand that the sport of boxing is a business. But I'm telling you why I fell in love with it, right? I want to see fighters do great things or try to do great things. I want to see fighters dare to be great. And we have dare to be great has become a cliche term in the last few years. Just don't fight the people in your weight class. Just fight somebody 3 weight classes above you. That's daring to be great. No, daring to be great is what we saw yesterday. That's what daring to be great is. When you are in a win-win, lose-lose period, both fighters are. You are fighting the 1 and the 2, and you're fighting for supremacy of the division, for the undisputed crown at light heavyweight, not because the sanctioning body said it, not because Mauricio Suleiman decided, okay, now we're going to let the Russians fight for the belts, for the WBC. Not because he made that decision. Not because of that, or because the ring was involved, or because Turkey was involved. No, because we all know that these two were the top dogs in the division. And when they fought, neither man was caught too late. Neither man was over the hill. They're still on top of their game. They're still killing it. And there's still no other man in that division could beat either one of them. It's a two best fight. This is Hector and Achilles at the light heavyweight division. Right? This is the two best. This is it. And that's one thing. Before I get to the fight itself, or before I get to bragging about how I was right, because all that doesn't matter. All that is sideshow. The fact that we were able to talk about this like it's a boxing match, to break it down like it should be, like it, because it's a sport, was refreshing, quite frankly. And I don't care that they're two Russians, obviously Beterbiev's from Canada, but Russian descent. It doesn't matter to me, because this is a worldwide sport. And I think a lot of American boxing fans need to get their head out of the fucking sand. Stop being ignorant. And quite frankly, stop hating. Stop hating on fighters from other countries. Stop being a bunch of haters. Yes, they're Russian. Yes, neither one of them is American. But they're the two best in the division, and I don't care if the two best in the division are from Thailand. I don't care if they're from Bali. I don't give a shit if one of the best fighters in the world comes from Pakistan. I don't give a shit if they come from Australia, New Zealand. I don't give a shit if they come from Colombia. I don't care if it's the two best fighting. I don't care to drop them off, okay, in the middle of an island we never heard of, but if they picked up boxing and they happen to be the best in the world, I want to see that fight, and we're getting it. So I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate two top talents that are fighting each other. Neither one of them, right, way past it. Both of them still on top of their game, still fighting brilliantly with precision and intelligence. And I can appreciate that because this is a sport of hierarchy. We're supposed to be establishing who the best in the world is. Boxing is supposed to be an experiment, right? And we're supposed to be, and how you do the experiment, you have everybody fight each other. And in the end, somebody comes out on top. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, we're witnessing another battle. Two brilliant tacticians. Two brilliant boxers. And two at the top of the heap, fighting for that top spot. It was just refreshing for me. The way people talk about it, the way we were breaking it down, the way we were debating about who's going to win the fight. That is what the sport's about. We shouldn't be praising fighters that are avoiding the top opposition because it's best for business. Because you don't understand the business, these style. Why do you want to see these top guys fight each other? Why would they put it all on the line when they could take this easier fight for almost the same amount of money? Wouldn't you do the same? Why are people asking me what I would do? They should be asking me what I want as a consumer of the sport. For some reason, in the sport of boxing, we have boxing fans that think like managers. We have boxing fans that think like promoters. Right? Many of them that are thinking like if they were in the shoes of the fighter. How about, for once, many of you join me, even if we disagree on whatever we disagree on. But one thing we should agree on is that we should be thinking as fans. And we should be viewing this as a sport. And when we see two top fighters, whether it's Beterbiev, Bivol, we should be saying, I want those two to fight each other because they're the two best in the division. And there's nothing wrong with that. Not to me. And MLO 860 said it best. It's nice to have a boxing rivalry without the drama. And then we have people trying to start drama. Like the boxing media can get out of its own way, bro. Marcos Villegas, you don't need clickbait, brother. You have over 1 million subscribers. You're very successful. You don't need to do clickbait. I read a headline. Like I said, I got to watch the fight and I couldn't watch much else. I was listening to commentary kind of while I was working. It was actually on Ring IQ's channel. But as far as watching it, it was Beterbiev. That's the one I was not going to miss that. And I finished watching that. And then I'm no longer working, and I go to my YouTube, and there's a title called "Beterbiev refused to sign the hand, shake the hand of Bivol." And I'm like, what? Beterbiev didn't shake his hand? Like, what do you mean he didn't shake his hand? I'm thinking, what was he being a poor sport? Was he complaining? Was he pulling a Juan Manuel Marquez? What's going on here, right? And in the end, it didn't even mean anything. Bivol said they did shake hands, right? And then a moment in the back, and then Beterbiev went up to him again, and the context is, well, I'm not going to shake your hand now because we're going to do a third fight. And Bivol said, I got you. And that's it. That's all it was. But the titles, bro. He did it last time. I don't know if it was him or somebody else. They did it like, they're asking Beterbiev, like, hey, they're saying that they were robbed, and they're saying this. Like, when it was the complete opposite. Bivol couldn't have been a better sport about his loss. He couldn't have taken more accountability for his loss. But we have members of the media trying to spin it for a headline. It doesn't just happen with them. We saw it happen with the reporter that was trying to start shit with Inoue and Tank, quoting Inoue for something Inoue never said. Thankfully, Tank caught onto it. So he didn't say that, did he? I don't believe you. And JC, I get that this is what Marcos does for a living, and he's very successful. Believe me, I'm not hating it. I think overall, he does a great job, right? This is just, I'm a nobody. But if he wants to take some feedback, all I'm saying, he doesn't have to do that. You need to do that, brother. People look at that, they find out the truth, and they say, man, that's literally the definition of clickbait. When you're presenting the title and it's not what really is, but you're doing it to grab people's attention and click on it, and it's not even what they expected, right? And I'm seeing that a lot. But anyway, the overall theme, we don't need to do that here. And talking about the third fight's going to be very fascinating. If the third fight happens, according to Bivol, Beterbiev said we're going to do a third fight. And we'll shake hands again after the third fight. So obviously that's like a ceremonial way of saying we agree. You know what I mean? And that is just the way I personally see it. It's called a beanie, brother. You never heard of a beanie or what? But anyway. And wrenches, yeah, wrenches for a reason. Somebody starts trolling, get rid of them, brother. We don't need to be dealing with dumb shit. We're here to talk boxing. All right? Somebody comes in, you sniff them out and get rid of them if for whatever reason they're acting like idiots. There's no reason for me, like, you guys have wrenches, use them. If I feel one of you time somebody out like unwarrantedly, I can always go back and undo it. I'm just saying, don't get too carried away with it, but we're here to talk boxing, right? Like that dude, get rid of him. There's no need. That's it, right? We're gonna get rid of him. It's as simple as that. I shouldn't have to grab my mouse and click on it and waste time on my commentary. You got wrenches for a reason. I'm gonna put it that way, right? Now, all of us here, right, witnessed a great performance from Bivol. And this is not taking anything away from Beterbiev. Beterbiev is still the beast he's always been. And one thing I took away from both fights, right, is this. Both of them are capable of beating the other. Like, it's a matter of who executes the game plan better and who makes the adjustments more often and who has more success, right, in executing their game plan and the adjustments. And that's really what it comes down to. They're both capable of beating each other. And the odds will still be very close going into a third fight. More people, because Bivol won the rematch, are going to side more with Bivol. I believe anyway. I think that's where it's going to trend. But you're still going to have at least 30-40% of people picking Beterbiev to win, and most are still going to say it could go either way. You know what I mean? That is the important, I guess that is the important part of this fight, right? That's the best part about these two fighters. You know what I mean? And what I'm going to tell you is, right? I want to see that their fight. I would like to see it before the year ends. I don't think we should wait. Beterbiev is up there in age, right? I don't want to see for they could both be at their best. The fight should be next. And that is that. So, and the conversations going to after fight will be very interesting. Now, the reason I picked Bivol in the rematch, right? Even though Beterbiev won the first fight, even though Beterbiev was the one that was, you could argue, rustier going into that first fight, and maybe he wasn't as rusty this time, right? I still believe that. I took that into account, right? But because when it really came down to it, it was just a matter of controlling the fight and making the right adjustments. And you give somebody like Bivol an entire fight to assess a fight and see why he didn't win it, right? And this is a guy who thinks, this guy who can make adjustments within the same fight. What's going on to Tony Boswell? How you doing, brother? Right? Hope everything's good on your end, right? Shout out to you. You see, we're gonna totally. And oh, by the way, don't just remove the messages, like ban them, like they're banned. They're gonna have to create a whole another account and come back in, right? That's the way it's gonna work. Like they're banned, like just ban them completely. So they're gonna have to, like the losers they are, they're gonna have to come to another account on their phone, and then keep coming back. Like that's just the way it's gonna work, right? They don't get timed out for a minute or two. Like they're gonna have to come back completely, right? That's what we're gonna do, right? With that said, now Bivol is still Bivol. Okay, like there wasn't, to a naked eye, it's kind of like, wow, he's still fighting like Bivol, right? He's still fighting like a guy that he's elusive, right? He's quick, great at counters, great movement. His stance is it's kind of 40% front foot, 60% back foot, right? That's just the way that is, right? At the end of the day. And that's what we're going to do right there. That's what we're going to do it. All right. So here's the thing. The fights reminding me of Trilogy Canelo fights, but better. Well, that's debatable. If they're better or not. I don't want to dive into that because that's opinion. And that's going to spark a debate. Oh no, it's not. And like I don't want to go there. But what I will say is this: I think every fight is its own fight, and I think what people, and when I was talking to Calix on and I realized this, it was on Wednesday. We had this discussion, and I understand why he sees it that way, and we'll discuss it more on HCP in the middle of the week, right? But if you're Bivol and you're already or Beterbiev, and you're already facing somebody who's extremely talented, extremely skilled. Small cracks in the armor is what you're looking for to pierce through, to get a win, to edge out a round enough to get that round, to convince 2 of the 3 judges at least that you won that round. When it's already like you're already looking at it that way, you can't, as a fighter, you can't think about like, man, I really want to put on a show for the fans and I want to entertain them. Like that's not your brain cannot be in that space, right? You cannot be thinking about those things. About, am I being exciting enough right now? Is this not one of the things that you're processing, right? Am I putting on enough of a great performance? It's not, because at that point you're still trying to find ways to, again, win a round that's hovering over you and you're not clearly winning it because the person in front of you is so much of your equal when it comes to skill, right? Like you're literally battling for inches, you know? It's what you're battling for. And that's a very difficult thing to do. And that's what I'm seeing when I watch these 2 fight. If some rounds are more exciting than others, that's just how they turn out. That's just how they are, right? But what a fight that was. What a performance by Bivol, right? And I like the mobility of Bivol's guard in the fight, right? And Bivol has one of the best, like what he does with his right hand, right? Kind of like he has it, covering. He's answering the phone with it, but he's able to just shoot it straight. And you can't, it's not telegraphed. It's like he just pops it. And it's almost more effective than a jab sometimes, and then he adds his feints to it. So that gives him the ability to have more variety with his right hand, right? So if he pulls the right hand back, you don't know if he's just feinting, right? And you don't know if he's pulling it back to then shoot it. And to me, that was one of the things he was doing that was working. And I think the pendulum movement he was doing in the ring was very effective. And I had some stats, and again, I don't know, they sound right. I'm not saying they're right, but they sound right based off the fight that I saw. And if I pull it up here, according to these stats, right? Beterbiev landed 177 punches. Bivol landed 220. High impact punches 23. Beterbiev 44. Bivol. Thrown, Beterbiev threw 887, almost 900 punches. Bivol threw 692. Right. So Bivol was in. It looked like he was in really good condition to try to keep up with the volume aspect in this fight. Right. And then pressure, 61% Beterbiev, Dimitri Bivol, 47%. That's not even, well, that's not between them, obviously. I guess that's talking about 61% of the time that Beterbiev was boxing, he was applying pressure, and I guess 47% of the time Bivol was applying pressure. Got it. Aggression, 31%. Of the time it was being applied by Beterbiev, 27% of the time Bivol. This tells me this was Bivol's fight. The movement, circling the ring, being a pendulum in the ring, right, was, allowing Bivol in most of the rounds to dictate this fight. And I think it was clear. I think round 11 especially was a great round for Bivol. He closed it hard right there. He still had to go out for the 12th, but I think he solidified it for most people in that 11th round. And then in the 12th, it's not like he backed down, but he had already done enough. And but again, he didn't back down. He didn't just get completely on the spike and just avoid Beterbiev completely, right? So that was a hell of a performance. Jesusem, you think Beterbiev won? I disagree. That's cool. If that's how you feel. I disagree completely. I think this was a great performance by Bivol. An unbelievable performance by Bivol. Unbelievable. And this was, to me, all things considered, probably the best performance of Bivol's career. All things considered. And we'll talk more about it in the week. I just wanted to go ahead and give Bivol his flowers. This is somebody who outclassed Canelo Alvarez when Canelo had just become the undisputed super middleweight champion. Right? This is somebody that outclassed Zurdo Ramirez. Zurdo maybe won 2 rounds in that fight. And he did it with such, it looked easy. I'll put it that way. I'm not saying it was easy, but it looked easy. And now you see Zurdo Ramirez having success at cruiserweight. And again, it should remind you of how good this guy is. And his only loss was a very close fight in his first fight with a machine, a beast in Arthur Beterbiev. Someone who, if just all you got to do is look at the career of Arthur Beterbiev, stopping everybody, breaking wills, breaking guys' hearts. Like, I mean, this guy was just destroying fighters in the ring. He was a destroyer. He still is. The Bivol's made of something else. Even before the first fight, people saying, "Oh, he's going to stop him. He's going to overwhelm him." I said, "You cannot." Bivol, this guy is made of steel. He's got a heart of steel. He's got a will of steel, right? And to me, that was an unbelievable performance by Bivol, all things considered. As far as pound for pound, if anybody's making a pound for pound list, you got to have Bivol high. I mean, I think he's in the discussion. I'm not saying he's my number one, but he's in the discussions for number one. Bivol is. Because if you want fights like this, you got to reward the outcomes of fights like this. And I'm looking at Inoue right now, unbelievable. Look, to me, Inoue is still my number one pound for pound, but I don't think Inoue's had a win like this one. I don't think he's had something like this. So great performance by the one and the only. So I scored it 8-4 for Bivol. Could have been 8-7-5. If you want to, you could stretch out a draw, but I personally don't see it. I scored the first fight for Beterbiev 7-5. The third fight's going to be very interesting. Given the type of fight they had in the first fight, how close it was, I edged Bivol because I felt, look, he kind of has, in my opinion, had an advantage coming in. He's the one that knows he needs to make the adjustments. And Beterbiev's kind of in a position of, well, do I do the same thing? Do I switch something? Do I change something? Or do I not? But now, like you know, that pendulum's gonna switch here, right? Going into that third fight. It's gonna be interesting, but I'm still gonna favor Bivol in the third fight. But it's gonna be very interesting to watch. Best believe both teams are gonna go to the drawing board. Both teams are gonna draft a game plan. Both teams, right? And now they've had 24 rounds together. This is, and I don't think the third fight is going to be a one-sided fight either way. I just don't. I believe it's going to be another close contest, and the winner's going to be the winner, and that is it. All right. So that's the way I see it. People can see it how you see it, but I'm telling you how I see it. Right. And I don't see him having more than that many rounds. Okay. I just don't. People was getting broken down, but came back. I don't think he was ever at a point where he was getting broken down. I wouldn't go that far. Beterbiev was having success, right? But man, oh man, Bivol, man, he's a T1000. I've been telling you, he's a T1000. All right? That's what he is. He's the T1000. So, anyway, that's all I got, guys. I gotta get ready, to get ready for work and all that. So, it's gonna be a busy Sunday for me. We'll see what the rest of the week brings. I appreciate everybody that tuned in. Make sure you hit the like button before you get out. Okay. Also, if you want to, consider joining the membership. Only 99 cents a month. I want to thank Remy, all right, for being a member. I see him here as a member, so shout out to you, brother. Okay. Tony Boswell is also a member, so shout out to him. All right. And I'll be creating like emojis and stuff for members only. And then I'll be a lot of the archived political talk will be there. Okay. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is D-Style Boxing. All right. If all you dudes out there keep creating those accounts, keep coming over just because you want to talk that bad in my chat. Keep creating the account and jumping over here. You know what I mean? Keep doing it. Right? But the moment we sit patrol, we're going to get rid of you. And you're going to have to create a whole another account. Right? So this is what it is. That's the way it's going to work. If you don't like it, too bad. If you don't like the way it looked, too bad. You're going to have to say it all over again in another sock puppet account of yours. Right? You have to do it all over again. I would hate to see all the, how many accounts a lot of you guys have. You know what I mean? This is unbelievable, bro. But that's what you're going to have to do. It is what it is. I don't know how else to put it. You know what I mean? Oh, look, he has a beanie. Let's go say something about it. Har, 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 har. Let me create an account to say it. It got banned. I'm going to go to my other fake account and just keep doing that. All right? It's all good. Just don't forget to hit the like button. All right? I'm out of here. Peace out, guys.